originally got the idea of like going to law school and becoming a lawyer from people telling me that I like to argue when I was younger, which is funny because now I can't stand the thought of litigation, like sends a shiver down my spine. I had the opportunity to go to Temple and was really just, I think, blessed with an opportunity to go to a law school that like wasn't super expensive. It was in state. I was familiar with the area. And so I made that decision to go to law school, but really, I think when I went to law school, my idea was like, I'm going to help people and I'm going to own a nice car someday. And so I still didn't really know what lawyers did, but for me, going to law school was an opportunity to be able to make an impact in the world. And so really came from the desire to want to make legal services more accessible and really empower everyday people to do extraordinary things. One of the I always tell people this, like the what I remember, one of the things I remember the most about law school was like getting into law school, and it's like almost immediately after I let everyone on Facebook know that I was going to law school, like everyone's coming to me for legal advice. And I'm like, grandmom's like, she wants to put the house in trust. I got a cousin who's like, do I have to pay the landlord this week because there's my sink is broken or my toilet won't flush? And, I got other friends asking me, I'm having this custody issue. Like, what can I do? Just all different types of things. And what it really got me thinking was, especially as I was learning the laws, like how much it touches on everything that we do, and how if you have access to that professional knowledge of how the law works, you can use it to your advantage. And if you don't, you're really just trying to avoid the law, so to speak. And you're looking at it as something that's a negative whenever you have to come into contact with, these different legal processes and systems and structures. And so I really wanted to find a way to make those legal services and solutions more accessible to the average person. So that's why I went out and started MZA Legal. And
Like, in what ways are you innovative, or what ways are you kind of pushing the envelope or doing things differently?
yeah, well, I'll say one way is the way in which we communicate. I think I try to be very authentically myself when I communicate with people, whether it's individually, whether it's through a group workshop or, on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, whatever the case may be. I'm a human being first, and then, an entrepreneur and a lawyer like fifth after like dad and like, all these other things that we can kind of heap on that. And so I bring all those identities, to the table, and I'm not shy about, kind of not fitting within that stereotypical, attorney box, although I'm in front of a bookcase right now. Um, but at least it's not filled with dusty law books. But yes, I think, in terms of the way I communicate is one aspect. I think another thing that I wanted to do when I went out on my own, I think, to me, pricing, we often think about affordability in the context of access, which I think is a piece of it. But I also think that one like easy step that attorneys can take to being more accessible is being transparent in their pricing. I think that that's a huge pain point for people when they're, calling or reaching out to an attorney and they have no clue, like, what is the phone call going to cost any money? Like, at what point am I getting charged? What is this all going to cost me at the end of the day? And I know in some practice areas, it's a lot more difficult to figure those things out than in others. But in terms of working with entrepreneurs and small business owners, those are things that a lot of us who have had experience doing that work can kind of predict. So, being transparent in the pricing, having it on my website, being very clear up front with people, this is how much it's going to cost. And here's what you're going to get at the end of the day. Here are the things that are going to be included. Here are the things that aren't. Um, and then I guess the last piece of it is just being virtual. So my practice is based in PA, Philadelphia to be specific, which is where my license. I'm licensed in PA, also licensed in New Jersey technically, but really just focus my practice in PA. But I live in Maryland.
Yeah, what do you use? What's been helpful?
So, with me being part of ILPI, that I'm a big fan of Lawmatics. Definitely my favorite tool when it comes to software, because to me, it allows you to do just about everything that you want to do in your practice. Zoom, of course, or some form of virtual meeting. I use open phone as a sort of like voice VoIP.
Do you use a bookkeeper, or do you have a CPA? How do you keep track of your finances?
That's a good question because I forgot Zero. Zero is the accounting software that I use. So I have an accountant. Easily some of the best money that I've spent as a business owner is having an accountant. Don't wait until it's perfect to actually do it. Like, don't wait until the perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time to do it.